Well, hello, good afternoon, and good evening, and good morning, somewhere out there in the world. Thank you for showing up and being here with me on Real Talk with E.V.E. And of course, this is yours truly, Eve Gomez. I want to thank you for joining us and subscribing to my YouTube channel and following me on all social media platforms. And I appreciate you. Without you, there is no show, right? I'm bringing back my contributing writer, Phylis Mamula, Phylis Butler Mamula. She is the designer, the interior designer, and she is the interior designer of Design Tech Interiors. And I'm going to bring her back because we have a lot to learn about what to do, especially if you are a small business and you're looking for a change, if you will. 2023, it's all about change. It's about new beginnings. And so I'm going to bring up none other than our interior designer, Phylis Butler Mamula. And of course, she is my contributing writer to Ethereal Lifestyle. And of course, this is sponsored by Ethereal Lifestyle, LLC. So I'm going to bring her up just now. All right, there you are. Welcome back, Phylis. How are you?
Thank you, Eve, for having me again.
Well, I
I
was just
wanted
saying
to
that
talk
I'm glad to bring
a
you
little
back
bit.
because we want to talk to the businesses, right? We want to talk to, it's a new
Exactly.
year. It's got to be a new phase, a new look, change. Sometimes, change can be the necessary evil, but it's necessary, right? So we're bringing you
Of
back, and
course.
thank you once again for making some time to come on with us. So go ahead, Phyllis.
Thank you. Well, we all came through being quarantined and we all came through the pandemic. And prior to about 2018 or 19, the bulk of my business was commercial design. I did a lot of offices. I did medical offices. I did corporate offices. I did a lot of what we now refer to as the cubicle farm, where you lined up lots of cubicles and everybody had their little space. And back in the day, back then, again, prior to 2 years ago, if you even suggested to a corporate client that they allow their employees to telecommute, they'd look at you like, well, that sounds great in theory, but you're out of your mind. Nothing will ever get done. I won't make any money. I won't know what my people are doing. And, subject closed. Order me 500 workstations. So we talked about that. And we offered it as an option to let people kind of telecommute, work from home, come into the office just a couple of days a week. And they weren't willing to do that. And then all of a sudden in early 2020 we all got quarantined and people couldn't go to work. And so corporate CEOs had two choices. They could either let their people work from home or they could close their doors. Well, they weren't going to close their doors. They had a lot of people depending on them, their own families included. So suddenly people were working from home and they were surprisingly getting more done. They weren't paying for train tickets, parking garages, lunches, fancy
Mm-hmm,
clothes.
mm-hmm.
We jokingly in our office began calling it the mullet of business attire because you only had to dress up from the waist up. You could
Waste
be
stuff,
barefoot
exactly.
under the desk.
Exactly.
Nobody would know. Yeah, put on a nice shirt and makeup and you're good to go. And nobody knew you had the fuzzy slippers under the desk.
And
And
pajama
so
pants or shorts.
people exactly, that became the new normal. I hate that term, but the new normal. And so, we all got productive and the CEOs realized that work was getting done. People were getting things done. They weren't spending as much on childcare and on everything that, you know, therefore they could get good talent at a lesser dollar value because people were having more money in their pocket for a little bit of a reduced salary and everybody won. So now we're out of the pandemic. trains are running again, offices are open, businesses are open. Some businesses, like restaurants, you have to go to them. But other businesses, you really don't. And people have gotten used to working at home. And I'm seeing clients say, I don't need to pay a lot of rent to rent an entire floor in a high rise in downtown
Mhm,
Chicago.
mhm,
All I really need is a conference room or two and a couple of private offices or shared office spaces for employees who need to come in once or twice a week to meet with clients, but they can
mhm,
do the bulk of their work at home. And I'm seeing more and more of that. Law firms, purchasing departments, insurance companies, those
mhm.
are the kind of companies that it's a perfect fit for this. Um, I have one client that lady I've known for years that I actually, she's a residential client who works for Discover Card up in Arlington Heights, I believe, somewhere far north, and she lives in Hammond. And she has worked from home 2 days a week for the last 10 years. Now she's working from home exclusively and
Wow,
getting ready to rent out her house so she can move to Atlanta and help care for her father and yet keep her same position, her
that's
same job,
awesome. That's
and
awesome.
stay. It is. And I personally went through caring for my mother and working from home. I owned an office building at one time. I don't need it anymore. And you can still have a team. You can still have your employees, and you don't have to be, a solopreneur to work from home. You can have a drafts person 2 towns over. You can have assistants. Everybody can be on, like we're doing now, on Zoom meetings, and you're still productive. So therefore, what I'm getting calls for from a design standpoint is, and my business evolved from a lot of commercial to more
Mhm,
residential because people were working from home. And then they suddenly realized, I haven't seen my house in the daylight in years, and it needs to be painted, it needs to be
right,
upgraded. And they
exactly.
realized that yes, they realized working from their dining room table just wasn't working. They needed an office.
Mhm,
Number one, you need a designated office to know where everything is. Number
right.
two, if you're going to write it off on your taxes, it can't be a space used for something else. It has to be an office. It can't be your guest room, your dining room, or something like that. And so, from a legality standpoint, you need a room, an extra bedroom, a portion of the house with a screen, with a door, something to absorb the noise, have your computer set up, and do what you need to do. So,
Mhm,
I'm getting a lot of calls from people to set up their home offices. And then now we're venturing back out of the house. We're going into work 2 or 3 days a week. And like I said, you don't need the office cubicle farm, and enter an entire new concept called hoteling or
mhm.
co-working. And what that is we put a half a dozen adjustable height workstations in a space. And instead of locked file cabinets and pedestals of drawers in a desk that you lock when you go home, you share them. You have just a work surface and you can adjust the height. Then over on the side of the room, you may have an entire bank of mobile pedestals, a drawer and a file drawer lined up along the wall. Everyone has their own pedestal. It's on wheels, it's on locking casters. The top of it might be upholstered, so it could double as a guest chair. If somebody needs to perch next to you, they can sit on it. You come into work, you grab your pedestal, and you find an open work surface. You may not sit
Okay,
at the same desk every time you come to the office. You find one that's available. It's kind of like going to Starbucks to work,
right,
only you
right.
do have the ability to have, not have the coffee spilled on your desk and not have someone talking loudly across the way. a conference room or two that can be reserved. A lot of times remotely, you go online, you book it for Thursday afternoon, you're going to use it for 2 hours. And well, you saw the co working space that I did in downtown Hammond. And there's been a lot more interest in that. There's one available in the Merchandise Mart. They're all over now. And it's just a co working space is shared with lots of businesses paying a fraction of what they would pay for rent. A hoteling office is actually one person. It's a bigger company. One company has an office, but that office may be an eighth of what they had pre-pandemic.
Right,
Because
right,
if all you're going to do is sit on the phone all day, you do not need to be in the John Hancock building paying high rent.
right, right. No,
You can
and
do
this
that
new
from
space,
home.
right, and the new space, the new era, as you said, the new normal. But what
Hmm.
is normal? Normal according to whom, right? Could be
Normal is
some.
a setting on a washing machine.
Exactly, right.
That's
And
what we
so
say. Normal is just a setting on a washing machine.
just the setting on the washing machine, right? And so what do you
Yes.
want to change is obviously the pandemic actually forced us, don't even like to
Hmm.
use the word forced us to make that change because we were pretty much
Yes.
on a lockdown. I mean, I was in Chicago at the time that
We were in a
COVID
rut.
hit.
Hmm.
And literally in Chicago, we were on a
Hmm.
lockdown, literally, where you needed to wear gloves, you
Yes.
needed to wear masks, you couldn't get in anywhere to the grocery store in without a mask or without gloves.
Mm-mm.
People were at the door greeting you, giving you gloves, giving you a mask. And I'm thinking, wow, this is pretty much like taking our control, right? And I understand why in some instances, but this has changed. It's like a big 180, a shift that Phyllis is
Oh,
talking
I know.
about. We were forced to now work from home. So I guess we're now going to be saving money on office space. Like you said, why lease an office at John Hancock when now you can do everything
Hmm.
virtual, just about everything other than going out to eat. That's a different story. And so
Yes. That's a
Phyllis
different
has
story.
given us ideas of what we need to do. If you are that person that's watching that need a change, a makeover, a design or redesign what you currently have, she's given us ideas here. She is our contributing writer from Ethereal Lifestyle magazine, and her column is called "From Blah to Ah." Share with us a few things that you've been writing. I'm sorry, writing on the column of your blah to ah, so that the readers or new readers would like to read and gain more knowledge from you, and hopefully, as you guys see on the screen, her contact information is there to contact her for some consulting.
Okay. Well, in the monthly column, Blot, I think I've been targeting more the residential side, although it could very well go over to commercial. And I've been promoting a plan we have in place called How to Eat an Elephant. And that's just an old saying of how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And I came up with that because so many clients would call me to their house and say, I want you to redo my kitchen, say. And I'd come over and we'd meet and we'd chat and we'd get to know each other. And the first thing I know, they're running me down the hall to the powder room and they're asking me what kind of a backsplash needs to go in the bar, and then what color should my kids' room be, and oh, by the way, I need new furniture in my living room, blah, 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 blah. And at the end of the initial hour and a half discovery meeting, number one, they're out of time. Number two, they haven't accomplished a thing. And number three, they're out of budget because they've piecemealed it all. So I came up with an idea where people can sign on and it's so much more affordable than if they hire me hourly or just hire me for a small project. And we meet, doesn't have to be in January, although it is a 12-month commitment. It can go March to March or whatever. In fact, I only take on 4 per month. And what we do is we walk through the house and we just make a list of everything you would do in a perfect world if you could to your house. The kitchen needs new cabinets, new floor, new lighting, new everything. That's going to be a big ticket item. The powder room needs new artwork and a coat of paint. Every single room is addressed from the entry to the basement to the backyard, outdoor kitchen, cooking area, poolside, whatever. Every single area is listed with a wish list. If time and money weren't an object, what would I want in this room? What would I like it to look like? And I take very detailed notes and a lot of pictures. And then I come back to my office and I digest those lists. I put them in an Excel spreadsheet. And the next time we get together, I say, okay, your kitchen's going to cost you $40,000 and take 3 months to complete or whatever. We can do the powder room for $500 or whatever, budget. I put in a preliminary budget with how much a sofa is, how much lineal feet of cabinetry. It's by no means exact because we haven't picked out things yet. I don't know if you're going to gold plate it or go more budget, but we come up with a game plan and we prioritize those rooms. What do you want to do first? Sometimes people say, let's gut the kitchen first and save the little stuff for later. Sometimes they say, let's paint our children's rooms in the summer when they're away at camp and they're outside more. We prioritize every room in the house, and then we design one room a month. Now, granted, with lead times, if February is living room and we order furniture that's 12 weeks out, it's not going to be 100% complete, but it will be designed, budgeted, and paid for. So then we can move on to the next room. I also keep people on track because if Eve calls me up and says, I found this backsplash for my kitchen, what do you think? I can gently tell her, your kitchen is in March. We're working on your bathroom this month. Table it. We're not gonna have that conversation because the only way to get anything done is to isolate it and get it done. At the end of 12 months, and the fee is automatically bank drafted once a month, once you sign the agreement, per room. And it may look a little unfair because my design fee for an entire kitchen may be the same as for a little powder room, but it's broken down monthly, how much per month to do your whole house. At the end of a 12-month period, you're going to have one of two things. You're going to have your dream home, or you're going to have a house that you can hand the keys to your realtor and say, I'm ready for the next chapter in my life. It's done. It's beautiful. It's staged. You don't have your realtor telling you to change a paint color, patch a few holes. It's going to be perfect. At that initial meeting, you will say, clients will let me know, this is my forever home. I love the school district. I love where it's going to be. I want to be here 10 to 15 more years. Or they may say, we really want to sell and move to Florida in 2 years. All those things I take into consideration. And in 1 year of intense work and keeping people on track, it keeps people from running around and shopping and making expensive mistakes and buying a sofa because they liked it in the showroom and then it's too big for the room. And then what do? I can't get rid of it because I paid a lot for it. And oops, right. You shouldn't have paid a lot for it.
Exactly.
So therefore, it's designed on paper and it's done in 3D. And before you put your hard-earned money down, you know it's going to fit, you know it's going to work. So that's what I've been working on the residential side. I suppose I've never translated that into a commercial job. Never. Although I probably could, if someone came to me with, say, a medical office that they'd been in for 15 years and they want to give it a facelift, I could probably break it down into, let's do your waiting room, let's do your business office, let's do your exam rooms, and work it front to back like that. Normally, commercial, I'm doing the whole thing for a
Mhm.
moving date. But if a commercial client say owns the building and they don't want to move, they just want to remodel, but they have to be working in that space the rest, at the same time, we could probably apply How to Eat an Elephant to that.
Mhm.
I'd be
Mhm.
willing to give it a shot. I haven't done it yet, but I'd like to.
Let us know when you do,
Do
and
we? Right. And if anybody, is listening and wants to, send me questions, email me some questions, I'd be happy to do that.
right, right. Or if you're watching now, we are looking at the comments. So if you comment here on whatever social media
Hmm.
platform you are in, we will comment
Sure.
back. We will respond to you. Um, and get back with you. But you guys see her website there on the screen, designtechinteriors.com, and her phone number is 219-922-2000. 932 2000. Is
No,
that
no,
correct?
no, you always do that.
932.
932-2000.
Right. I
He
corrected
was trying to
myself.
move me to Highland for some reason.
Sorry. I'm looking at the numbers, and I guess even
932.
with my readers, like, well, you guys seen it. It's on the
No,
screen. 932 2000.
932. Right, right. How are we doing for time? Do we have
We just
anything
have a few
you
minutes
want to add?
left. Yeah, a question. Okay, so we talked about changing your space, right? Or designing or redesigning your
Mm-hmm.
space. Now, your consulting is the same price no matter the size of the room because you're gonna sit there for the hour or two. How does that fluctuate in case someone's on a budget?
Normally, what I do is I charge, of course, depending on location. If they're outside my back door, I don't have to, commute. If it's on the north side of Chicago, I might throw in an extra hour. But normally, I do a 2 hour minimum to meet with you initially. And they pay me on the first meeting for 2 hours of my time. That lets me know they aren't just tire kickers and that they're serious about their project.
Sure. Right.
We talk about scope, we talk about budget. I come back to the office, I put together a proposal, and I normally work with a flat fee. It makes people more comfortable because they know if they call me, the clock isn't running. I don't like to bill hourly. It ends up a lot more money to the client, and it's a lot of paperwork on my end. So I'll look at the entire scope of the project and I will come up with a flat fee.
Okay.
Normally I take that in 4 payments, and it's too complicated to talk about, but it will be like the design development phase, the sourcing phase, and so forth. So I get some money up front, some money when selections are made and orders are placed, some more when we're all done and hanging the pictures and ready for the grand opening. Um, 3 payments or 4 payments, depending on the scope of the job. Then I send them the proposal. That 2 hours they gave me for my initial consultation will be
Mhm.
applied to the back end of the contract. That's money you've already spent to start the programming phase. But it's, again, gas money if they choose not to move forward.
Okay. Well, that's good to
And
know.
and I usually say that that's a 90-day offering. In other words, if you pay me for 2 hours of my time and you don't call me for 2 years, we're starting all over again.
Yeah, a lot has changed in those 2 years. And you did mention on the
Oh yeah.
last time you were on that if they contact you through this show,
Mhm.
you're giving them what now? You were giving them the
Well,
last year's rate,
I
or
was
what was that?
giving them last year's rate. Yes.
Okay.
That I was My hourly rate was $125 last year. It went up to 150 January 1 for new clients calling me. If they mention Eve and this show, we will continue to go with 2022 rates as a Happy New Year gift, and we will continue that through the 31st of January.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard it
If you
here
mention
live.
you saw me on the show.
That's right. You got to say that you saw
Yes,
Phylis Butler Mamula on Real Talk with E.V.E. or
yes,
on Eve show, as long as you mention
yes.
Eve somewhere. She's going to give you that
Hmm.
price rating that she had from last year, the rate that she had from last
Right.
year. And hopefully you are encouraging yourself to make that change. Be bold, you know, don't do the just
Hmm.
the blend or bland, shall I say, colors, and just throw in another color in there and
Blah.
let her tell you this color will look good, and with this kind of furniture or this kind of framing, because we're not just talking about paint colors, carpet, what kind of floor, but also the designing around the walls, right?
Right, and we need to be energized, and carpet, walls, flooring, colors, they can energize you or they can sedate you. And depending on the productivity or the activity that you want to happen in a room, uh, you it makes a difference in the color. You want to
Mm,
be alert and stimulated in your office, but not in your bedroom. You'd rather be going to sleep in your children's playroom, and they all have a different function, and color's
right.
important. And to make everything beige or to make everything gray, you're not really doing yourself a favor.
Exactly. Well, thank
It's
you so
time
much
to
for
make it
coming
your
back.
own.
There you go. It's time. 2023, new beginnings, new phases, new you, new do. Right? You guys heard it from Phyllis
Exactly.
Butler Mamula. She is the interior designer of Design Tech Interiors. And you can always call her at 219-932-2000. Thank you once again, Phyllis. Until next time, here on Real Talk with
Thank
EVE.
you, Eve.
You're welcome. Have a good
Okay.
one.
Thanks, Eve.
All right, you guys heard it from the expert. I am not an interior designer. I listen to those that know better than me. Although it took a bold move for me to have different colors in one room, not just all bland and a neutral color. So we are thankful for every guest that comes on. I know I keep putting my glasses on and off because I really cannot see much without my readers. So thank you once again, guys, for joining me here on Real Talk with EVE. And you guys can always reach out to me here on the social media platforms. You can comment or inbox me, DM me. I'm just a phone call away, an email away, and just Google my name and you'll find me. And I am just blessed and humbled by these new beginnings in 2023. And for those new first timers that are joining me, happy New Year. Feliz Año Nuevo. We're going to have experts coming in about solutions, whether it's health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, financial health, wealth, rather, and of course, about what to do with whatever it is that you have or you're dealing with. And if you have some ideas to bring an expert on here, let me know, inbox me. And of course, we're here to help bring solutions, not just talk about the problems. Let's talk about solutions. And this is a solutions based show. Real talk about real issues with real people. And of course, if you guys don't know, if this is your first time joining me, the show is on Lunch and Learn Wednesdays 12:30 to 1, and on Saturdays 12:30 to 1. So we hope that you have a wonderful day and a rest of your week and weekend. Until next time, nos vemos. Hasta la próxima. We'll see you. Thank you so much for joining me here on Real Talk with Evie.